Hey everyone, welcome back to The Rustic Wife. I'm Alana. I'm just about to make supper and I just got home from work, so I'm gonna do something really quick tonight because after supper we're going to be outside planting some tree seedlings. So I'm gonna do a homemade hamburger helper. It just takes about 30 minutes and I thought I'd bring you along with me. This recipe is really quick and you can make it your own. You can add whatever vegetables you want to it. You can add the spices that you like. But I'm just going to do a basic one tonight, and it is a pound of ground beef, and I've got some pasta here. I don't have macaroni noodles, so I'm going to just use these rotini noodles, and I have an onion and some garlic I'm going to crush up in there. I've got some tomato sauce and beef broth. I've got milk and different spices, just paprika, salt, pepper, hot pepper flakes, and I like a little bit of mustard powder in there too. And then of course I have some cheese. So we'll just start by browning the beef and I'll chop the vegetables. Well, it's just onion and garlic, so but you can add peppers to it, whatever you like. I'm going to be cooking this in my skillet. It's got higher sides than my cast iron pans, and it also has a lid. And that is, you're going to need the lid because the macaroni, or the rotini noodles in my case, they're raw when we put them in, so you're going to need the lid for when they cook. So we'll start by browning the beef. I'm just going to put that to medium. I'll let that brown and I'll chop the onion and the garlic. So I have a sweet onion here, and I'm probably just going to use half of that. Just cut that in half. I'll save that for another recipe. So I'd say that's about a cup of chopped onion. That was supposed to be a sweet onion, and that really got in my nostrils. Lucky I didn't put it on a sandwich. So I'm going to mince 3 cloves of garlic. You can also just add garlic powder if you want. This is lean ground beef, so there's not a lot of fat that comes out of it, so I won't need to drain it. And if it was medium ground beef, I would, but I'm going to add the onion and the garlic now to it so it can cook all together. So while the hamburger and the onions and garlic are cooking there, I'm going to grate the cheese. I'm going to have about 1.5 cups of grated cheese, and you can use cheddar, you can use whatever kind you want, but I have some leftover mozzarella from a pizza I made the other night and some of this hard cheese. It's kind of like Parmesan, but it's not quite like it. So I'm just going to mix the two of them together and we'll get that shredded. So that looks like to be about 2 cups. I'm probably only going to use 1.5 cups, so I'll just keep the extra shredded cheese in the fridge for omelets or for anything else that I'm going to make. Oh, I don't know, maybe I'll use it all. I haven't decided. You can see there's hardly any grease in there, so that's why I added the onions and garlic when I did. Next I'll add the spices, and I'm going to put in some pepper. I would say it'll probably work out to be about 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, or however much you like. It's up to you guys. And 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, and 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1/2 teaspoon of mustard powder. I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of hot pepper flakes, but that's optional. Turn that heat down a little bit. And I also forgot, I like to add a few shakes of Worcestershire sauce in too. Okay, the meat's all browned and the spices are in and the onions and garlic are tender. So now I'm gonna add in the liquid and the pasta. We want 1.5 cups of beef broth. And about 1 cup of pasta sauce, or you can do stewed tomatoes too, but I just had this left over, so I might as well use it up. And then we've got 1.5 cups of milk. Give that a stir. This is why you want a pan with higher sides, because you just don't want to slop it all over the place. And then I have 3 cups of rotini noodles, and make sure they're not cooked. I'll turn the heat up to about medium, a little bit less than medium maybe, because you don't want the bottom to scorch. And we'll put the lid on it and we'll let that simmer away and cook until the pasta is tender. This has been simmering away for about 6 minutes. So I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a stir so that the bottom doesn't stick to the bottom. And I could probably turn that down just above simmer. So it's got about another 7 minutes to go. I think in total it'll be about 12 to 15 minutes or until your pasta is tender. The pasta looks done. I'm just going to remove it from the heat and then I'll let it sit for a minute and stir in the cheese. There, doesn't that look good already? Okay, I'm going to add the cheese now. And I also have a little bit of chopped basil. I'm going to sprinkle that on top. Make it look fancy. Because weeknight meals can be fancy. And a few more hot pepper flakes. So there you go, it's all done. That was about 30 minutes to make from start to finish. And if I really wanted to save time, I could just eat this out of the pot. Just grab a couple of forks. It can be like a community pot, really, to save dishes and time. But I'll probably put it in bowls and be a little bit more mannerly tonight, maybe. I forgot to mention that I usually add about a tablespoon of brown sugar to I usually do it before this stage, but I forgot. So we like it a little bit on the sweet side. It kind of cuts the acidity of the tomato sauce. So yeah, you can always add that. Oh, there's the dinner bell. So our supper's already here. We're gonna get to that and then we can get outside and plant those little trees. So I'm really glad you came along with me for this quick meal and hang out in the kitchen. And if you enjoyed today's video, please consider subscribing and I'll see you again next time.